Hi, everybody. This is George Doxas. Doctor time. Um, it's been a great year. I just wanted to thank everybody who's been in a recording studio with me this year. And it's been the best year I've ever had, actually. And some of the best projects I've ever done. And a lot of fun. Every project has brought an enormous amount of pleasure to me. And I know you guys seem to have a good time too, guys and gals. So thank you very, very much. It's greatly appreciated. And certainly it adds a lot to my life. And that's the first thing I want to do is to thank everybody and to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But there's a couple other things I just wanted to chat about. And one of the piece of paper here was the first one is to thank you. And I have two other things to talk about very quickly. One is what's been happened to our CBC. I realize that cutting was a necessary thing to do in order for Mr. Harper to balance his budget. But it's been a bloodbath. And the thing I guess that disturbs me most of all is when the two high executives at CBC, Lacroix and Mr. Boyce, is that his name? Whatever his name, say that they knew nothing about the Jian Ghomeshi affair. Absolutely terrifies me. And the reason that it terrifies me is that how many other things are going on in our corporation that they know nothing about, where people's lives are being absolutely destroyed by other people around them. And why do I think that the Jian Ghomeshi thing is the tip of the iceberg? I think, Mr. Hebert, I think you should resign, and I think you should pass the reins on to somebody else. It's a bloodbath. It is the most demoralized corporation in this country. And I think you are responsible for that. You, Mr. Boyce, are responsible for that. Radio Canada is no better. It's the same thing. I think you guys should resign. What's going on there, and if you didn't know about the Jian Ghomeshi thing, and you're saying, it's obviously, that maybe there's some maltruths here. Certainly, it's been terrible for musicians. Musicians don't get work from CBC anymore. You're not doing any more live recording. You're saying that your success is all in your streaming, where in fact you're just fooling the people. The programming is changed so much that it's become an unrecognizable public broadcaster. Sometimes that makes my words up. The other thing, so I think, guys, you should leave. And I really do. And I think most of the country thinks that you should leave. And I think, Mr. Harper, you've got to look at the CBC again and regenerate some life into it. You cannot be Prime Minister of this country, be responsible for what's going on there, and see the havoc that you're wreaking. But I'm not saying that there shouldn't be cuts. I'm not saying, but like that, Mr. Harper, where lives are destroyed, and then the people that you've appointed say, oh, we didn't know anything about it. It's kind of like the Duffy affair. It's kind of like, you didn't know about the Duffy affair. I was driving into Montreal today to go see the Nutcracker Suite with my wife. And we passed about 20 homeless people. All of the politicians in this country, and I'm talking about the federal politicians as well as the provincial politicians, as long as we have that type of poverty, you guys cannot pat yourselves on the back. When people come up to your car and they are disengaged, they're disparaged, they're living in abject poverty, and they have no other way to turn, but they have to get 25 cents off of you or a 2 and you are eluding. And you guys pat yourselves on the back and say, hey, we're doing a great job in this country. You know something? You're lying to us and you're lying to yourselves. When people line up for hours to get into emergency in a hospital, you're lying to us and you're lying to yourself. When people wait 14 months for an MRI, I can guarantee you, Mr. Harper, Mr. Coder, Mr. Barret, all of you guys, none of you wait like that. Certainly hockey players don't wait like that. Now I want you to imagine, everybody, all my musician friends, if every homeless person had 1,000 votes, I can guarantee you these guys would be living in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. So it's all about votes. And the impression that you give us, Mr. Harper, Mr. Mulcair, Mr. Trudeau, is everything is done for votes. Nothing is done for the good of the people. If it transcends into something good for the people, that's fine. Otherwise, nothing is good for the people. And something is very disappointing. I was a teacher for 32 years. Would I ask any of my students to be a politician? Absolutely not. To our provincial government, guys, the worst paid teachers in the country. Come on now. We pay the highest taxes. The worst paid teachers. Make the class sizes bigger. They're going to do better. Guys, do you have, what do you have working? Idiots in the government? They don't know better? I mean, it doesn't take brains to know this stuff. Anyways, I think I could go on for hours, but I have to say this. I think you all deserve a lump of coal, the whole bunch of you. It's incredible that we pay you tax money to do good things, and you don't. We pay you tax money to lead our country in a proper way, and you have money to give Indonesia, which I think is wonderful that we're helping countries out, but you don't have money for our poor. You don't have money for our hospitals. You don't have money for education. You don't have money for our universities. Yet you find money for other things. You know something? That's pretty disgusting. It's very interesting. And the last thing I'm going to say is my father came over here in 1941, 42, and he couldn't read and write. Opened up a restaurant, made a good living for him, his wife, and us, family. Now, these guys couldn't get me read and write, and they were able to make businesses run. And you guys, with all your education, you can't get along, you can't make government run efficiently, and we're plagued with scandal. Maybe we should hire some people who can't read and write. They would do a much better job. And if you can't run a country like Canada, that is bathed in natural resources, bathed in people who want to work, you know something? It's obvious that idiots can run this country. Imagine if we had good government. But anyways, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, all our government people, a wonderful Merry Christmas. Mr. Harper, go for a drive, and in your wallet, and Mr. Mulcair and Mr. Trudeau, have a bunch of tens. And I can guarantee you that if you bring 100 bunch of tens with you, that in 15 minutes, after you've given those tens out to all those homeless people, you won't have any money left. Merry Christmas.